Hello friends! Thank you for 20,000 subscribers, and to celebrate, here's a 20,000 centimeter hippie jump to manual to body varial out. On this channel, when we hit a multiple of 10,000 subscribers, we manual the number in centimeters. Honestly, I don't predict that this channel will get big enough that this tradition becomes impossible for me, but we'll cross those bridges if or when we get there. I promised I'd do a Q&A, so I'll first be answering your questions, and then I'll be doing a quick response to Ashton Kelly, who made a reaction video to my 3-year progression video. On to the first question. When did you start skating? What inspired you to skate in the first place? Why did you start YouTube? These are all pretty related questions, so I'm going to answer all of them by telling you the entire story of my skate life so far. It starts when I'm in college, walking through a crosswalk that goes to one of the best dining halls, and I see this skater. He's wearing a purple shirt and a backpack. He gets on his board and casually does this tail manual down this really long sloped path, which blew my mind at the time. I started watching YouTube videos about skating, and I discovered this channel called Braille Skateboarding through this one video where they made this weird skateboard out of everyday household objects. I started following the channel, and there was this one guy called Lance who was documenting his progress from having no skate experience to learning some really hard tricks. He was an inspiration because he showed me that it's never too late to learn skateboarding, even if you're in your 20s like he was. I started looking at skateboards for the longest time but never got around to buying one. Finally, one of my coworkers from a part-time job brought his board to work. He let me stand on it and showed me how to lean back and forth to turn, and looking back, standing on the board that day was a pivotal moment because I ordered my first board shortly after. I officially started skating around 3 years ago, and I started by learning through YouTube tutorials. Throughout college, I kept filming myself for 2 reasons. 1, to study my footage and compare it to the pros so I could see what I was doing wrong, and 2, to show it to my close friends because I was so proud of the new tricks I was doing. I kept seeing these really cool progression videos popping up on my YouTube feed, and by the time I graduated college, I had collected enough footage that I figured, why not make my own? So on August 1st, 2019, after I'd been skating for around 1.5 years, I published my first YouTube video, which was my progression video. For the next year, I didn't really post much on YouTube, but I kept skating a bunch. And during this time, I had taught a bunch of my friends and coworkers how to skate, and after one of my lessons, one coworker kept asking me for tips on skating, and I eventually made her a personalized tutorial video. I quickly came to realize that teaching is really fulfilling, especially when you get to teach about something you're passionate about. That set me rolling down the path of making skate tutorial videos, and I've been doing YouTube videos consistently ever since. What is the biggest stair set you've skated? I'm not much of a stair set skater nowadays, but the biggest stair set I ever ollied is this 5-stair, which was around 2 years ago. This stair set in particular meant a lot to me because it's right next to an iconic building on my college campus where I had most of my classes. I knew I had to ollie it before graduating, and I'd look at it every single time I walked past it. I honestly kept procrastinating because it scared me so much though. Every time I thought about doing it, I'd say things like, oh, I have a project due, I'll do it after that's done. But when the project was finished, I'd be like, oh, I have a midterm and I need to study, so I'll do it later. One day, I went to skate with my friend with no plan in general on the opposite side of campus. We ended up drifting towards the part of campus with the 5-stair, and my friend was like, hey, why not give it a try today? I think you got it. And that was enough to get me to finally commit to trying it. My biggest takeaway from this memory was that it's fine not to have a plan sometimes. More often than not, if I really want to attempt a particular trick at a particular spot, I'll plan out exactly what day I'll try it, what outfit I'll be wearing, and I pretty much wake up knowing that I'll be trying that trick. Sometimes it works out, but when it doesn't work out, I go home feeling really disappointed. On the opposite side of the spectrum, you can just let something happen spontaneously without planning, like I did for this 5-stair. What trick did you practice a lot before learning? Without a doubt, this has to be ollie. I got all 4 wheels off the ground pretty quick, and this is my first recorded ollie ever. Shortly after I stopped recording that day, I landed primo and fell really hard and got a wrist sprain. That one incident put so much fear in my head for future practice sessions. And because of that fear, it took me months and months of practicing stationary ollies before I could commit to higher ollies and then rolling ollies. The number one thing that helped me overcome this fear is practicing ollies next to the grass, which gave me reassurance that if I did fall, I could fall backwards onto the grass and be totally fine. What should beginner skaters avoid? There are 3 things I want to mention here. 1. Don't be pressured to do things just because others are doing them. For example, Just because you see videos with huge stair sets and tons of flip tricks doesn't mean you have to work towards those goals. Don't do tricks that you think other people want to see. You should do the type of skating that you have the most fun doing. For me, that happens to be manuals, and even though I don't see a bunch of people doing manuals all the time, that doesn't make manuals less enjoyable or less cool in my eyes. Put concisely, you do you. 2. Don't jump straight to the hard tricks. Sometimes I see beginners who jumped straight from their first stationary ollie right into kickflip. In my opinion, it might be easier to learn tricks if you get really comfortable standing on your board and pushing around, then work on developing your fundamentals. Having the basics on lock will make it easier to learn the harder tricks. 3. Don't ignore your body. This is a lesson I learned the hard way when I was a beginner. I had hurt my lower back from another sport, but I ignored it and skated anyways. The next day, my lower back felt way worse, to the point where it was hard to stand. The point here is listen to your body. When you're a beginner who just landed the first ollies and you have a bunch of learning momentum, it's easy to want to skate every single day and push through any injuries or pain. I was like that too, but I've learned that if something hurts, it's okay to take a break and let your body recover. It's important to find that sustainable balance between skating and letting your body recover, and it's something that I'm still working on today. Next, my response to Ashton Kelly. For those of you who don't know, Ashton Kelly is a skateboarding YouTuber, and he recently made a reaction video to my 3-year progression video. If you want to check that out, I'll link his reaction video in the description of this video. First of all, thanks for the kind words, Ashton, and for the shout out. I wanted to discuss 4 main points. 1. Why did I not put dates in my video? A. It was less work to omit the dates. B. I wanted the video to feel more like a skate part with music and no annotations. And C. I didn't want dates to be a means for people to compare themselves to my progress month by month. 2. Why didn't I land tray flip? I got kinda close, but I was always worried about hurting my ankles or hurting my back from landing primo. So I eventually gave up on tray flips and started focusing on the manual combos that I really wanted to put in my progression video. Again, this kind of goes back to doing the type of skating that I want to do, not the type of skating that others might want to see. 3. What the heck was this trick? This is a one-wheeled manual, and I actually didn't make this one up. I first saw this in Andy Anderson's video part, and after seeing it, I knew I had to go learn one for myself. I couldn't really find any tutorials on it, so I ended up making my own tutorial. 4. You have really good manuals. This is pretty related to a common question I get, which is, how are your manuals so good? Or do you have manual tips? I promise, I'm working on a full-length manual tutorial video, but the one quick tip I can offer now is to keep your front foot loose. If the tail is about to touch the ground, I tweak my front ankle and push forwards on the board to adjust my balance. Again, stay tuned for that full-length guide on how to manual and how to practice it. That was all I had for this video. Special thanks again to the commenters whose questions I answered here. And finally, thank you so much to everyone who watches my videos, subscribes, and leaves comments. I really appreciate all the support, and I love reading your guys' comments. As always, have fun skating, everyone.